Hi, and welcome to my podcast, Learning Through Different Voices and Different Eyes. My name is Myriam. I'm the owner of Mimitoys.ie. I'm a mom, I'm self-employed, and I work from home. The objective of the podcast, actually what's behind the podcast is what led me to start Mimitoys back in 2004, which is encouraging children to use their natural ability to play and learn and grow their confidence and self-esteem through, using their senses, imagination, creativity, talents, and skills. So the objective of this podcast is to give practical insights to parents and carers. So you're all very welcome. Today, we'll have a chat with Louise Caldwell. Louise, you are the program manager of OurKidsCode. OurKidsCode is based in Trinity College and is funded by the Science Foundation of Ireland. And the aim of the OurKidsCode is a series of workshops to engage families of primary school children to take part in STEM and computing activities. What grabbed me, Louise, about your offering and when I was checking your website is really the learning environment that you encourage, which is parent and child learning together and taking part in these STEM computing activities together. So, Louise, can you tell us more about OurKidsCode?
Sure. Thanks for having me, first of all, Myriam. So I suppose the main thing about OurKidsCode that's a little bit different to other maybe coding workshops or computing activities that you might see aimed at children is that actually our design and the research from which our project was born shows that Irish parents really want to be involved in their children's learning, and they're really feeling like they're at a disadvantage in terms of their own confidence levels when it comes to technical skills and computing and coding and all of this. They're really very afraid of it, to be honest. That's generally what we've found. And so that's why we're different. So what we have designed is a series of workshops. Now, these can take place online or in person. And what these workshops aim to do is to bring the families together in groups. So we usually have about 3 families together if we're online, and we would have maybe 6 families together if we're in person. And we work through with them through a 2-hour session of a creative computing project. Now, the aim of the outcome of that project is not even to teach coaching or to teach coding, I should say. It's not even for the children to come out with any skills at the end of it. The main goal of our project is to increase confidence. And that confidence, I suppose, the indicator for that confidence for us is fun. And we believe that if the families come together and engage together with our facilitator, have a fun experience, it's given them a positive experience of coding and of computing that maybe will move the dial for them in their own confidence in terms of how they may look at it again in the future. So it's a very kind of a broad sweeping aim, if you like. But I suppose what that's connected to, Myriam, is, the idea that if we get the families together now and we get the children together with the parents, that maybe children who the parent or the child themselves may not have seen computing or STEM subjects as something that was really their thing. And that hopefully that having had this positive experience and their attitude may have been, impacted in a positive way, that maybe they're more likely then to go on and choose STEM subjects in secondary school and therefore, a lifelong maybe career that has some STEM involved in it, which is really what we're about.
Absolutely. And I find the STEM, it's always a scary word for everyone because it's science, maths, technology, engineering, and for most parents, even though I'm sure we all have a bit of a STEM mind, regardless of what we do. We have some of the skills, logical, etc. But it's really bringing STEM to something we can understand as parents and kids and parents. I think we both have very different knowledge in terms of technology. I think our children, I know they can do so many things that I can't with social media. However, when I ask them to do a spreadsheet or Word document and all the little gizmos, they're stuck, saving a file or something like that. So it's very interesting that you're bringing these words, could be even part of the everyday conversation, coding, computing, STEM, rather than being the scary world out there that we'll never get.
Yeah, and I think you've hit the nail on the head there, really. Like, there's 2 things that we're doing that I suppose are completely unrelated to coding or STEM at all. One is fostering a sense of teamwork and how to problem solve in a group, right? So that's something that we're all innately, we have skills in that department, right? But we perhaps in a family dynamic don't necessarily get the opportunity to see that in each other, right? So that's a really an important part of the workshop. And then secondly is collaboration. So everybody's going to bring something different. You know, you could have one parent who, you know, is very confident and really wants to get the job done, but they don't want to get it wrong. You know, so they're maybe afraid to make a mistake somewhere along the way, or that they're going to break something. And maybe the child who's working with them, or children, you know, will help them push through that and just, you know, not be afraid to just click things and see what happens, you know. And, you know, and the converse is true as well. I mean, it totally depends on the people in each family and the dynamics of each family. But generally, like the feedback that we get, and we get the feedback within the session, you know, everybody does a little online form. And it's immense how much fun and how much in the comments people say, children and adults, because both of them fill in the form, how much they say they enjoyed this time with their parent or with their child. So that's really an eye-opener, you know. Another thing that you mentioned there, which I think is really important, is, you know, coding, I think in many ways can seem like an abstract notion. But what we've aimed to do with this particular project and how we approach things and how we've designed and developed the materials is we make very practical things, right? So it's not just doing coding on a computer. It's, for example, one of our sessions, we make a dance mat. So we take a little unit called a makey makey. The kids and the parents together work to code some music. And then they wire up these paper plates with little bit of clips and different things. And we make an actual dance mat that plays a tune when they step on it. So it's trying to join the dots between this physical artifact, if you like, and what's happening on the computer, and show that every single item that we interact with in our daily lives these days has some code behind it. And that's why you should be interested in this. You know, it's not just a back-end computer running lines and lines
absolutely,
of stuff,
which
like
is often the image we have of coding. You're in front of your computer and it's totally abstract, whereas it can actually be very, very practical and easy in our everyday life. And the other thing that I'm really interested, Louise, is that learning environment where actually a lot of children, because of the school system, we think the adult knows it all and the child is there to listen and to hear and to take it on board, and we often forget how much they know. And, you know, I'm back to my, you know, the natural ability that they have to understand the world, maybe not put words or maybe not, you know, concretely, but really they have such a natural instinctive understanding of the world. So that is brilliant. And for them to understand that they can bring something on the plate, and actually parents don't know everything and adults in general don't know everything, and we should be listening to our kids a little bit more. So it's nice for them to have that space to say, I can do that, I can show you how to, and you can show me how to. So I have to say it's really exciting. Louise, do you want to tell us a little bit how so you have it's rolling, it's starting?
Yep. So it's been rolling since obviously COVID scuppered lots of people's plans for quite a long time, but we managed to just get going anyway last year. We redeveloped one of our workshops and we got it online, and it's a 2-part workshop. And one of our key partners in the project is the National Parents Council, the primary. And so we've been rolling out with them and their team of facilitators, and that's been running online since last June, and it's continuing to roll out at the moment. So if you wanted to get involved in that, if people wanted to hear more about that, they can contact the National Parents Council directly and be added to the waiting list there. There's a huge list at the moment. Interest is enormous, which is amazing. Secondly, we are rolling out with another partner, which is the Department of Rural and Community Development. Now, they have a network of broadband connection points, which are as part of the rural broadband network to get broadband, high-speed broadband into all parts of Ireland. So many of the county councils are in charge of these little community centres all over the country. And we're running a pilot with those at the moment, where we're running the 4-week program, which is our original kind of offer, if you like. And through those 4 weeks, and it's really interesting that you just mentioned there about kids wanting to take more charge and to be in control of things, and to, you know, that they are not only capable of it, but that in many ways, you know, should be encouraged to do that. And the 4-week model that we've developed, now, it's 4 weeks, but, you know, it can be longer, it can be shorter. It really depends on the group. But a huge part of that model is spent and designed to include the children and the parents taking part and then taking over as the 4 weeks roll on. So very much around the teamwork and collaboration that we spoke of at the beginning, where the project, itself requires that. But then there's this sense of, well, this group of families who've come together now for these few weeks to meet, that they actually need to collaborate together and to work as a team. And we encourage that. And then by the end of the 4 weeks, really, the families are equipped, not least the adults, but also the children, to run parts of the session themselves, and to decide and how to evaluate whether or not one project would be a good thing to do. Is it something we're interested in? So there's a huge amount of, one-way flow in week 1, but that really flips. By the time we get to week 4, it's the facilitator sitting back going, okay, you tell me what I can help you with, and we've given you the skills, and hopefully you're going to watch you put them into practice. So the aim is then ultimately, that we'll have equipped these families to potentially meet beyond that. It's an opportunity to have a little coding club set up amongst a few interested parents, and then maybe, if we get enough of those in a little area, we could have a little cluster, and we could have a chance of these families who are interested in continuing with some of these little creative projects with computing.
Absolutely,
be able to meet.
Yeah, because I know you mentioned the word community, and maybe in rural area, it's actually nice to have such projects that would bring the community together, because often the options are sports, the GA and the various sports club, but there is rarely a community that's built around parent and child doing something together. So I can see really interesting, for kids, let's say kids who are not sporty but would like to engage in something in a fun and interactive way, etc., with their parents. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I suppose, most parents want to be able to continue with these things, and obviously joining OurKidsCode, we're funded by Science Foundation Ireland, so there's no fees for us to come, and there's no fees to run it, and if anybody was interested in becoming a facilitator, we offer free training. So if it's not available in your area at the moment, contact us, we can get you trained up, and you can start it there. We have all of the toolkit, it's ready to go. So if anybody is interested in running an OurKidsCode series of workshops in their area, let us know, and we'll certainly get you trained up.
That's brilliant, Louise. That's so fascinating. And I think I could have talked to you for hours, but thanks very much for your time today. So all the information on the podcast will be on the Mimitoys website and YouTube channel. And we will put all the information that you mentioned about facilitator, location, the format of the workshops, etc., on our website as well. So Louise, thank you so much.
Thank you, Myriam.
All the information on OurKidsCode project workshop is here.